70. I hope to get it passed. A lot of people are going to talk about it. And Gabrielle Giffords, on the very day that she announced that she was opposing Senate Bill 1070, there was a sheriff's deputy in Pinal County who was shot that very hour. She doesn't get it. She said she opposed it because she said it does nothing to secure the border. Really? Because when I look out and I see schools and hospitals and everywhere across this state, I see people leaving this state because they don't want to face law enforcement. We are doing the right thing in Arizona, and if they would just enforce our laws, we would be able to solve this problem. I agree with Jesse that we do need a triple layer fence or a double layer fence or some kind of fence. We made that commitment. But what happens if you have a fence and you don't have anybody on that wall? What do? Right now we have one person, one individual in America that we can trust. Everyone has let us down. Politicians have let us down. We see everyone has let us down. But there is one individual in America who has not let us down, and that is the American soldier, sailor, airman, and marine. They need to be out there. They need to stop people from coming through. That's the solution.
Thank you. Looks like we got the microphone situation figured out. Next question is not signed, but I'll kind of tee it up and we'll pass it around and answer the question. We are running tremendous budget deficits right now. We ran them before. During the Reagan administration, we ran some pretty big deficits, but we had the supply side. We had the hope of the future. We had businesses getting back to work. It was a prime to pump and get back to business. There's $1.8 trillion on the balance sheets in cash on the American businesses. They're paralyzed. How do you manage the deficit and how do you get people back to work? Let's start with Mr. Payton.
Deficit in jobs. The deficit in jobs, the solution has never changed in this country. The solution is always the same. The prescription for economic success is always this: cut taxes, stop spending, and get rid of regulations. That's what puts Americans back to work, and that's what will bring down the deficit.
We absolutely do need to free spending, to cut taxes, to limit regulations. I'm the only candidate up here who is a proponent of the fair tax. Yeah! Despite criticism from my opponents, kind of broad brush criticism, no specifics offered. The fact of the matter is you, as an American, need to be able to take home your entire paycheck. You shouldn't have to justify your existence to the federal government every April 15th. You, as a free person, shouldn't have to hold receipts in shoeboxes and beg for and go and hire someone to comply with a law that Americans ought to be able to comply with without seeking professional help. This is not an example of freedom. This is an example of tyranny. Now, speaking of fiscal conservatism, I do want to take this moment to thank from the bottom of my heart my volunteers and supporters of my campaign, because we have run a campaign literally on a shoestring budget, and so the essence of fiscal conservatism, having been outraised by my opponents about 7-1, is truly remarkable, and so I thank you from the bottom of my heart for that. In a broader picture, the bigger picture though, I want to thank all the volunteers who've been part of all of our campaigns, because you're engaged in this political process. This is what representative government is about. So my heartfelt thanks to every single one of you. Well, except for those, I must say, Jesse's volunteers, a little bit more busy than most. So those of you who have been taking down my signs, I would appreciate if you'd refrain from that. But beyond that, to all of you who have maintained the dignity of the system, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Okay, here we go. Look, clean the mud off here real quick. There has never once been any evidence that the greatest volunteers in Southern Arizona, which are the Jesse Kelly volunteers, have never touched anyone's signs. The Jesse Kelly volunteers made it so Jesse Kelly is not in debt in my campaign. We've raised $500,000 because of our volunteers. Our volunteers, 1,500 of them, have knocked on 20,000 doors, and we're kicking everyone's rear end in this primary because of our volunteers. That's what our volunteers do, and they will not be disparaged by any other candidate. I don't care how lowball they feel like giving. Ever. Not ever. As far as the budget deficit goes, stop electing liberals. It's called a 10% flat tax. If 10% is good enough for Jesus, it's good enough for the federal government. Invite business back to the United States of America, because right now communist China knows more about free markets than the United States of America right now. Second highest corporate tax rate in the world, this heavy progressive income tax that punishes success, punishes risk-taking. We don't do that in this nation. Not now, not ever. You keep what you earn in the United States, then business will come home, it will employ people, and the supply side economics will create the economic growth that will basically give us victory in this nation, that will return the United States of America. And let me reiterate again, thank you to my volunteers for kicking everyone's rear end. You're the best. Thank you.
All right, let's keep it above the belt. Let's keep it clean in here. Last but not least, Ramon.
I do want to, I was inundated with emails from my volunteers, and actually from, in the past 5 days, and from around the district talking about how many, I have people in Green Valley who put up signs, and all of a sudden they emailed me, and they said, Brian, the 6 signs I put up are down. There are signs from a competitor in their place. Shelly Hawkins, you might know, 5-Star Pest Control. She put up 50 signs around. They're all gone. She's sitting here if you'd like to talk with her. We have multiple people from around the district. Folks, we're out in the heat. Our volunteers work very hard, all of our volunteers. And then I got an email from not one of my volunteers, and I'll read it to you.
Brian. Pertaining to the question raised, and then you first.
Hi, I'm John White. I volunteer for the Republican Party. I've been putting out signs since the start of April, and on many occasions with friends Frank Evans and myself have been putting out J.D. Hayworth and Peyton signs, and on many occasions we have found signs destroyed or hidden. On Wednesday around 1 p.m. afternoon, we put 2 Peyton signs at First and Wetmore at each entrance of the complex. The very next day they were gone. I volunteer in the Hayworth office, and their signs have never been destroyed or taken, and neither has Ruth's or Jesse's. And it seems for a long time, I thought it was Democrats doing it, but it became apparent to me that many times Jesse's were brand new while the Miller signs were down and left on the side of the road. The last straw was the urine-saturated Peyton sign, while Jesse's untouched. I took it to Jesse's office, and right away they told me I was not allowed on the property because I had a Peyton shirt on. I went in the office and asked to talk to who's in charge. I explained that this has been going on too long and has to stop. They told me that they had permission from the owner to remove them from the property, and then I was told to get out. So he admitted to removing the signs. Once again, I just asked the volunteers to take the high road, because it's too hot here in Southern Arizona to ask volunteers to go out again and again. Thank you.
All right, let's shake that up.
Jesse, go ahead!
Let's try to keep it on the issues. There's a ton we have to talk about, all 3 here. Let's keep it kind of on the issues and keep it moving. There's so many good issues that are out there. Another question, without a comments, I'm going to kind of paraphrase a little bit. It's about Obamacare, the largest sweeping entitlement program that has hit our country since the 1940s, 50s. So what is your position on Obamacare? How would you increase it, decrease it, repeal it, continue it, fix it? What would be the goal if you're sitting in Washington, D.C. with Obamacare? Let's start with Mr. Miller.
Obamacare absolutely is a disaster. Obviously, it's moving us closer and closer to European-style socialism.